For millennia, we studied the heavens, hoping to find our answers among the stars. Only now is it clear that all that time we were looking in the wrong direction.
We're back in space with Stellaris ancient relics.
Out with the old, in with the new. It looks like Wiz's departure from the Stellaris team has made some waves as good old Daniel Moragod has stepped into those shoes and instantly decided, you know what, Distant Stars was awesome. Let's dive a little bit deeper. Instead of adding more anomalies, how about we just get some anomalies and deepen them out quite significantly, which is something that I've been wanting for quite some time. Introducing Ancient Relics, a new upcoming expansion for Stellaris, and I can already tell you it's going to cost you $10. And that right there, it should probably already give you a good indication that this is in fact a story pack and something to tie us over until the Covenant 2.4 comes out, which should bring the big diplomacy update as well as all the spy systems and stuff like that. But it does not mean that we should ignore this. Personally, I felt that Distant Stars is all the way up there with Utopia as one of the best expansions due to the fact that it adds just so much narrative. And on top of that, the expansion itself, or at least the patch that will come with the expansion, will get all the base features of the expansions, just the content and the storytelling that you're going to be buying with the pack. So modders, for instance, will have a wide array of possibilities to craft their own stories, and you can just grab those from the workshop and play with the systems that I'm about to talk about. So first of all, we've had a Dev Diary a couple of weeks ago about archaeology, and it does look like that this is going to be one of the key takeaways of this expansion. If you ever played any of the Civilization series, say number 5, and you could get archaeologists and find stuff from previous civilizations, this is very similar, except it's been deepened quite significantly. So for instance, we're going to be seeing systems that allows us to find, say, a world or an asteroid where a certain thing pops up, a storyline, which then will have several chapters for us to discover. And this could possibly go into the dozens from what I understand. There's going to be quite a lot of these, and pretty much the bulk of the storytelling is going to be in these archaeological finds, where every single time you need to wait and roll dice, very similarly to EU Forces siege system, where the skill of your scientists, the abilities of the scientists, whether or not you have the archaeological systems from the curators on your ship, yes, they're actually going to have use. Also, the skill archaeologist for scientists is actually going to be useful now, which is really, really good. And then basically you can traverse through the storyline, slowly getting more points into something like more science, getting special technologies, getting minor artifacts. We're going to be talking about that shortly, and eventually working your way up to a major artifact, an ancient relic. And we're going to be talking about that very soon as well. So what are these minor artifacts? Well, minor artifacts are, we've talked about this in a Dev Diary before, a item that you can find and then combine to unlock a edict of some sort. Or you can sell them off to a curator. You can put them in a museum for bonuses on planet and that sort of thing, or go to technology and get rare techs, and that there is quite a lot of them. And also one of them they were talking about, if you for instance have Megacorp and you have the diplomatic megastructure, you can upgrade that structure with the artifacts and get an even better version of it. So a lot of things in this expansion actually tie into previous expansions, not as its main focus, but there's quite a lot of tie-ins in here, which I think is incredibly cool. They've introduced something that is a gallery of some sort.
System is headlined here as Relics. Boom, boom, boom. Very nice. New tab on the traditions screen.
So what type of relic do you want? Maybe
Galatron.
maybe the Galatron.
There will be a new tab where you can access them, and we will see several items from previous expansions as well as for this particular expansion that will be put into this storehouse. It seems very similar to the artifacts and relics system from Crusader Kings 2 that will give you bonuses. For instance, you can get the Galatron from the good old Megacorp expansion, which has a CB attached to it, so everybody can get it. You can get if you have Leviathans, you can get the dragon trophy, but also a whole bunch of other ones, like a general for, say, the Unbidden. But apparently there's over 20 of these that will come with the expansion. Every single one of them will have an active ability that will give you bonuses over time to your empire, which is incredibly cool. I really like this. There's a lot of flair going on here with large iconography that we've only really seen in Stellaris Console Edition, really. And I really, really like this sort of thing, where you can go into this area and activate a relic to get a bonus that you need at that certain point in time. Very, very cool. Very, very interesting. But yeah, these are only you can only get these after getting certain events. For instance, these dig sites, like I said, there's quite a lot of them. And of course, there is arcane technology and things like that as well. And we've talked about that in the various dev diaries. Then there is 2 new extinct precursor species, the Baol and the Zroni, that will be added to the game as well. They're going to be a sprawling hive mind of plantoids and the most powerful psionics in the galaxy who has ever lived. And they're called the Zroni. I'm sure we're not all just huffing space dust aliens right now. They will have their own archaeology campaigns that are very deep, and they'll be mixed and matched together with the existing precursors, who currently will not have an archaeological system attached to them, but that's on the roadmap at the moment for them to add those. At least the developers have been playing around that. So get ready to see the Youth or the First League, etc., to get their own archaeological dig sites in time to play with in the vanilla version. I really like this. I really wanted an expansion that adds these long, sprawling storylines, very similar to what we saw in Horizon Signal, or some of the more in-depth storylines that we've seen. Like what kind of other event chain am I thinking of here? Mostly Horizon Signal, which has this long extended storyline, which I really like. We got these chapters, of course, for these dig sites, artifacts, and all that stuff. The stream also had a little bit of a chat about the upcoming patch. There's obviously quite a lot of stuff to talk about. For instance, we now know that the research component or a research district on a ring world will now generate 80 science of every single flavor. That is huge. That basically makes the science array completely obsolete as soon as you build a ring world. But of course, supporting that with the proper amount of pops is going to be challenging. So that right there is quite interesting. There's going to be relic worlds where you can find more archaeological sites. You won't be able to sell any of them. Overall, it looks like we're going to be seeing an expansion that is really focusing on expanding the story of the galaxy at large and focusing on that mid-game as well as on that early game, where you find new sites to explore and slowly but steadily Indiana Jonesing or Daniel, I kind of forgot the name right now, Daniel from Stargate, your way through. And that right there I think is really exciting. I think Stellaris really needed something like this, including some performance stuff going on in the background as well, just to fill those gaps, get the tech depth out of the way before diving into the next big expansion that will most likely be released sometime in the 3rd to 4th quarter of 2019. But we shall see. I'm really, really curious what good old Daniel Moragord has cooked up for us. But yeah, we're gonna go and wrap this up here. $10. That's how much it's gonna cost. Ancient relics. Very interested. Really cool. Until next time, take good care of yourselves, and as always, each other.